So the WNBA Rookie of the Year race has been crazy. It has been absolutely crazy. So I'm going to talk in this video about it and whether or not I think it's close at the minute. Obviously, it was neck and neck up until about 5 or 6 games ago, I believe. I'm going to be talking about, is it close? I'm going to be talking about if it's not close, who is ahead, and also just the case for either of these, giving my opinion and basically talking about it. Because what is my answer right now? Is it close? I think it is close, but also not close. I think 5 games ago, it was very close, and I think maybe you gave the slight edge to Angel Reese. But 5 games is the equivalent of a 10-game stretch in the NBA. Angel Reese has not been good since that first Seattle game. She has not been good. And Caitlin Clark has brought off the best stretch of 4 or 5 games for a rookie. Since the 30th of June against the Phoenix Mercury, Caitlin Clark has been exceptional. She has been exceptionally good. She has been by so much the best rookie in the month of since the 30th of June. It's not even close. And you could even argue, even as though Angel Reese was unbelievable in that Seattle Storm game, that Caitlin Clark has played the 2 best games a rookie has played since then, in her game against the Liberty and her game against the Mystics, while also willing her team to a win in a 4th quarter while her team has a much better record. So if we're looking at the case for Angel Reese, the double-double streak is over, and I would not use the double-double streak in a argument anymore because of how embarrassingly it ended. Like, if the double-double streak had ended a couple of games ago, like, if it had ended, let's just say, just naturally ended, like when the Atlanta Dream game where they wrapped her up. If that doesn't happen, the double-double streak she's still broke the record. It goes to 14. Or is it 14? It goes to 14, and everyone's going to celebrate the record and be like, oh yeah, that was good. Like, that was a good record. Not even, some people go at it, but like, even likes myself would be like, that was unbelievable, historically great. But the way it's ended has left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, because you can always look back at, well, this is Mickey Mouse record. But the reasoning for Angel Reese is that she is an elite rebounder. Like, that is probably the biggest reasoning for Angel Reese, is that she's an absolutely elite rebounder, maybe the best rebounder in WNBA. And if you believe it is Angel Reese Rookie of the Year, subscribe. We're trying to hit 22.6k by the end of the day. But if you believe Reese is Rookie of the Year, that is probably your main argument. She's also she's been a positive defender for most of the season. I think she's actually having her worst defensive spell of the season right now. But I think throughout the course of the season, Angel Reese has been a positive defender. I think she's been one of the better defenders at her position for a lot of the year. I think she is going through a little bit of a defensive slump right now, but she has been really good. And up until the last 5 games, the consistency argument was there. Angel Reese had played very few poor games, and she started off the season well because what she did was immediately fit in. She didn't have to fit out. She wasn't the number 1 in the scouting report, and she's having to fit in. And now she is becoming the number 2 on the scouting report. We're seeing it. The teams aren't really guarding Mabry as much as they did at the start of the year. The scouting report is Kennedy Carter and Angel Reese. And we're seeing since that Seattle Storm game, the first one, that Angel Reese is struggling with the extra defensive pressure. I know it is coming up against Jonquel Jones, but we saw earlier on in the year her destroying Jonquel Jones. Like, Jonquel Jones could not live with Angel Reese to start the year. And the first 2 times they played, she was locking up Jonquel Jones. She was locking up Stewie on one end, and Jonquel Jones couldn't live with her on defense. Like, now that there's more of a scouting report, now that it's not just we're going to leave her on an island, she is struggling a bit to get used to it. So we do have to take into account that it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to being higher in the scouting report, because we saw how poorly Caitlin Clark started the season based on that. But at the same time, this is probably the worst time to be doing it, because Caitlin Clark has had the best stretch of basketball that a rookie has had. I think since the 9th of June, which is when Caitlin Clark did not get picked for Team USA. Since that day, I've been looking through the games. A'ja Wilson has been the best player in the WNBA. There is an argument that since the 9th of June, Caitlin Clark has been the second best player in the WNBA. I genuinely think there's been an argument. She has had unbelievable games. Her team has the third best record, and her team's uptick in form directly correlates with her just taking over. She's leading the WNBA in assists. She's quite high in steals. She's leading in blocks for a guard. She's leading in rebounds for a guard. She's top 20 in all 5 statistical categories. So you're looking at a player that has now blown open the race, in my opinion. And you can even see in some big bookmakers. Some bookmakers are giving minus 2,000 odds on Caitlin Clark winning. Caitlin Clark, I think, has blown open the biggest lead in the Rookie of the Year race we've seen. Like, I think it's close enough in that if Caitlin Clark goes on a 5-game stretch of bad games, and by bad games, I mean real stinkers. Not even last night 3/4 stinkers. Like, real stinkers. She needs to go through a 5-game stretch of stinkers when Angel Reese needs to go through a historically great stretch. And they also have to be closer in the standings. What's likely going to happen is the Indiana Fever are going to go in to the break 12-14. The Chicago Sky are likely going to go into the break 9-14. With the Chicago Sky having is it 9-14 or 9-15? With a much, much more difficult run-in. Like, they are going to have a much more difficult run-in. And they're probably going to go in 9-15. So 9-15 versus 12-14, there is a gap. And I think you're going to see now after the break, it's what more than likely is going to happen is that Chicago go into that playoff fight with Atlanta, because Ryan Howard will be back, with Washington Mystics, who are just playing way outperforming what they should be doing. And also, I wouldn't be surprised to see if Satu and Seagrass come back, to see Dallas make a run for it. So I think Chicago are in that like zone where they are not going to have it easy making the playoffs. Whereas I think the Fever have pulled into that stage where it's like, unless disaster strikes, because the Fever have a really, really easy run in. Unless disaster strikes, they're going to probably go and make the playoffs. But either way, it's possible. To say it's not possible that Angel Reese can take over as Rookie of the Year is saying that she's too far off. I think everybody else is too far off Caitlin Clark. I think Rickea Jackson's starting to come into form right now. I think since the start of July, Rickea Jackson has been the second best rookie. And I know Angel Reese had that one unbelievable game against Seattle, but I think since the 1st of July, the second best rookie has been Rickea Jackson. So I think up to a point it was neck and neck, and we've seen Caitlin Clark blow it open. But Angel Reese is still, like, she can still see. They're running a 5K race, and they are 3 kilometers in. They've got 5 laps to go, and Caitlin Clark has lapped everybody. But Angel Reese, on the bend, she can still see Caitlin Clark on the other side of the bend. She knows, okay, there's only a 100-meter difference. It's possible. It's possible. I'm not out of this. But Angel Reese's game tomorrow is her most important game. If they lose tomorrow and go in 9-15 at the break, even if Dallas lose to the Wing, or even if the Fever lose to the Wings, which I don't think they're going to do, and go in 11-15, they're still 2 wins behind. And if she doesn't, especially if she loses and has a bad game, like she's had 3 bad games in a row. And I don't think she was good in the other one against Seattle. I actually think she's a bit injured. But I do think that if she doesn't perform tomorrow, you're going to see with a month, like if there's going to be a month break and the only thing people can remember, because people are still going to want to talk about the WNBA, they're going to want to talk about debate shows, they're going to want to be talking about it, who's the Rookie of the Year. And if the last thing people remember before a month break is Angel Reese's worst 4-game spell and Caitlin Clark just taking over, playing like, if Aja Wilson wasn't having the greatest season of all time, playing like a MVP candidate, I still think that it's Like, look, it's Caitlin's to lose. Caitlin is, as I've said, they're in a 5K race. There's 2K to go. Caitlin's lapped every other person. Angel Reese hasn't quite lapped everybody, but she can still see Caitlin, and she's like, you know what? I just need to step it up. It's not over. It's not over yet, but it's very close to being over. There's going to be a stage if they beat the Wings and Caitlin Clark has another big game, and they lose badly to the Aces, and Aja Wilson is on her revenge tour for being voted fourth and has 30 and 20. And then there's a month to like dwell on how they've ended this. Things aren't going to look good. And I think it's going to be very, very hard very soon to even make an argument for Angel Reese without looking completely disingenuous or that you just don't watch basketball. But anyway, if you guys think Caitlin Clark should be the Rookie of the Year, go subscribe as well. Don't worry, we threw that one in too. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.